Welcome to the Solemn Yugioh channel. This is the first, I guess, discussion type video that we're doing here. And so this will probably be a bit weird for me the first time. I'm very used to talking Vanguard, talking music production, talking all that kind of stuff. So going over a market movement within Yugioh, very new to me. Regardless, I hope you stick around. So what just happened? I don't know if my little collection video has gone up yet, but essentially about a month ago or so, I recorded a portion of my Yu-Gi-Oh collection. At one point I talk about certain prices, you know, oh, this card is actually worth this much, blah, blah, blah. One of those cards was a Stein, the Shonen Jump Championship Series Stein. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's this guy. So you used to have Shonen Jump Championships, just like you had YCS Championships right now, well, before COVID. And you would have a side event sometimes, or sometimes it would be second and third, like Anaheim, you know. Loads of stuff like that. In general, high placement, got the Crush card, or the Stein, or whatever Shonen Jump promo you had at the time. So those are rare. Why are they rare? Shonen Jump didn't last that long. You had the one in 2004, 5, then 6, 7, 8, 9. And then kind of ended. The last one was Dark End Dragon in the Synchro era. After that, it morphed into YCS, and then you started having YCS prize cards. And they are very different eras for different reasons. We could make an entire video about that, but essentially Stein was the first one. It was also the first card to get emergency banned, and for the longest time, only two existed. So you had two Steins, that was just the thing for a while. Magazines were printed, kids like me read those magazines, only two, wow! And after a while, more were created. You had Upper Deck Day. And so right now, the official numbers, now, we don't know if, oh, maybe there's some floating around from an Upper Deck employee. Like, the official number is 126. So, if you grab the Shonen Jump amounts, you grab the Upper Deck Day, you grab, I think there was some other number. The total number, confirmed, is 126. That's the amount of Steins that were given out about 15 years ago or so, you know, 14, 16, somewhere in that ballpark. That means that card that was so iconic, because first it was legendary, only two. Then it was emergency banned because it was so broken, because you needed to have it in your deck. It was a complete paradigm shift. You had Stein OTK, wasn't like the best deck, but then every deck did play Stein, even if that wasn't their main strategy, because the card was just so good, but only if you could actually get it from a previous Shonen Jump map. It was a whole thing. So it had this whole allure to it. So this is a card that has had a hard cap on how many can exist. Remember that. Because people can say, oh, Blue Eyes, oh, Charizard in Pokemon, oh, Black Lotus. Black Lotus Alpha, okay, that has a cap of 1,000, whatever. But like these other set cards, the only cap they have is the amount of boxes that were printed. And there were a lot of boxes printed. Sure, a lot of cards got destroyed over the years, you know. Oh, my Blue Eyes, cool, and then it fell in the mud, and you were a kid, you didn't really care. So a lot of cards got destroyed, that's why they're valuable. But still, if you open boxes, more of these Blue Eyes and these Red Eyes and these Dark Magicians enter the market. Not enough to reach demand, so these are gonna be valuable. Well, they're already valuable, but they'll probably rise. But their cap isn't defined, because as long as there's sealed boxes out there, there's a potential for more of these. As long as there are random people with binders from their childhood era, there are more of these out there. And so, while right now the pop report may say some number in 100, so like, we know that's the number, in theory, that number can grow quite a bit still. However, on Stein, we know it's 126. Maybe there's an Upper Deck employee who still has a couple, but in general, we know one or two print sheets went out, that's it, it's over, it's done, this is the existing amount, and from that point onwards, back then, they've only been destroyed. People have played with them, people have put them in their binders, people have traded them, shipped them across the world, decks got stolen, people who didn't know what the hell they were doing, people who didn't realize they may go up over time, didn't really take care of them. And so over that time, that number of 126 has to have gone down. Maybe lost, You know, oh, this deck in my attic, whatever, you no longer follow Yu-Gi-Oh! And you forget about stuff, and that's it. So 126, it only went down and down and down and down. But that hard cap makes this thing rare. So I just wanted to like sketch this portrait already, so you really realize why a prize card like a Cyberstein would be such a big deal. So now that we've sketched that portrait, we know, okay, this thing is rare, super rare, and a lot of them got destroyed. If Yu-Gi-Oh! As a market is investable or collectible, let's say, then a Shonen Jump prize card is probably a good bet because it's old and it's rare, and if you can have those in mint condition over a decade and a half, quite some get destroyed already. We know there's not going to be many out there, so that makes this a real collector's item. So what's up with today? For the longest time, Steins and these other shonen cards weren't mega wanted. I mean, they were still in the thousands, but like you could get a 9 or even a 10. Like last year you could get a 10 for 5k-ish or whatever, 6k-ish, whatever, somewhere in that range. This year you could get a 9 for 4k-ish, okay? That was like the usual thing. I own 2 of them, they're at the bank, so you can't rob me. These cards were 4.5-ish, 5-ish, 4-ish, in that range. And now suddenly you have one with clear damage selling for $10,250. And you may think, oh, it's just a one-time thing, but like, that's not a one-time type thing. If a investor moves into this market and was willing to pay 10K, if another one enters the market for 7, the guy scoops it up. If another one comes into the market for 4, it's mine. I'm just saying. Like the second a Stein enters the market for 4, it's mine. But I don't think it will ever happen again. Because why would it? You can list higher, and the dude that had the 10K to spend on the first one will likely have the 10K to spend on the second as well. Or someone else will go, damn, I'm getting a bargain because the last one was 10K. And we're talking about a card with such a low amount in existence that like, it's not like these are on the market all the time either. It's not like 5 sellers can list theirs and then try to undercut each other. Like usually there's 1 or 0. I've seen 2 like at some point, and I was really mad because I didn't win the auction. I wasn't awake. I hate European hours for that reason. But so that is the price essentially now. A raw, ungraded Stein with a dent in the back sold for 10K. That is something. That means the card more than doubled in, well, almost tripled in 2 months. That is something. Now, word on the street is that this was some kind of big Magic and Pokemon collector, which is interesting. I do believe Yu-Gi-Oh! As a collecting, investing market will start getting some maturity. So for the longest time, these cards were actually super cheap considering their rarity. And so you need a first point where people are like, wait, this could grow. And then they start, you know, like Magic the Gathering wouldn't be, oh, we're going to invest in this if Black Lotus was a $5 card. No one would think, oh, I'm going to get into Magic investing. Well, if Black Lotus and the Power 9 and stuff were cheap. No one would. You need that start, that organic interest and that growth and everything like that. And so for the longest time, Magic was laughed at by sports cards people because it's not a legit thing. And then for the longest time, Pokemon was laughed at by Magic the Gathering people because it's not a legit thing. For the longest time, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was laughed at by the Pokemon people. It's not a legit thing. And you know, if something was iconic, loved by so many children, it's only a matter of time before the people that grew up with this thing start having income. Once you have someone whose entire childhood revolved around Yu-Gi-Oh! And that person in his 35 or 40 is now a hedge fund manager or a CEO with $1 million or more, he's not gonna give a fuck about spending 10K on a card. Yeah. So as the Yu-Gi-Oh! Audience, at least the people growing up on Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid, grow up and get more income, we will start seeing Yu-Gi-Oh! Being taken more seriously and seriously as a investment vehicle. Now, again, I want to say this in brackets because there's also a lot of bullshit out there, and like I could probably make 20 videos about all the things that are wrong with this whole deal, and like We'll get to it one day. But let's just say that I take it seriously, and if you don't care, that's cool. Get out. So Stein essentially tripled in price. Just like that. Maybe doubled, maybe tripled, whatever. We can argue semantics, but it's a huge fucking jump. It's likely because of a Magic the Gathering and Pokemon investor realizing like, holy shit, this game is old, this game is loved by many, it's the third biggest TCG. At some points it crushed MTG and people are growing up and there's fucking prize cards available this cheap. Like, have you seen Pokemon prize cards? Have you seen what a University Magic card goes for? Or the Family Kangaskhan? Or the Pikachu Illustrator, which is the one everyone knows? Like, consider the pop on these. Consider how many are out there. And then consider the limited amount of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, prize cards that are out there. It only makes sense. If you take Yu-Gi-Oh seriously, and you're already into Pokemon, and you're like, wait, there's this prize card in Pokemon. And we know there's 250 of it. And for some goddamn fucking reason, it's 80k. But there's this Yu-Gi-Oh prize card. And there's 126 of it. And it's only 4k. That makes no sense. And so if someone was savvy, they just moved. And I think that's what happened. And if it didn't, cool, whatever, then maybe I'm crazy. That's totally fine. But this is something I find absolutely fascinating. Also, this means the My Collection video will be completely off. Another funny thing was I bought the God cards at one point for 600, like a complete set of the GBIs, PSA 10. I think in a video I'm like, oh, this says 600, and then within a few weeks, boom, doubled. So like all my marks are gonna be off. That's gonna be hilarious. So yeah, this was interesting for me. I hope you found this interesting. If you did, please like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.